Hello again everyone, Melth here, with a patch 8 guide plus challenge video to the toughest fight in Baldur's Gate 3, that is, the battle against Commander Zhalk and both Cambions and the Mindflayer on the Nautiloid on the hardest difficulty, using the exciting new Death Cleric subclass. Alright, I'll play as Dark Urge here, though of course custom origin could also work just fine. Let's pick the new subclass and talk about its features. I'd say the Death Cleric is overall definitely one of the best classes for this job, though probably not quite as strong as Fiend, Warlock, and Druid for this fight. Maybe comparable with Hexblade, roughly. Depends. It's especially good though for honor difficulty because you, being a cleric, can cast Command, which means if Zhalk doesn't drop his weapon the first time, you can get another try, and that's really valuable. So, in terms of class features, all clerics, of course, get different weapon and armor proficiencies, and Death Cleric has really good ones for our purposes. They get martial weapons, which is really good because there's a surprising shortage of simple weapons on the Nautiloid. Also, they only have medium armor proficiency, but that doesn't matter because there is no heavy armor on the Nautiloid anyway, so who cares? Now, for their features, one of the cool things about patch 8 is it added a lot of popular cantrips from the tabletop, like Toll the Dead. And Death Cleric is pretty good at using those. The two contenders I would say are of course Toll the Dead, which is probably the best it's ever going to be, really, is in this fight. Because in this battle, we'll have a long battle against enemies that are injured almost the entire time, and they're fairly weak at wisdom saves, relatively speaking. So Toll the Dead is basically at its optimum here. Now, probably the most fun and hotly anticipated feature of the Death Cleric is this one, letting you hit 2 targets at once with Toll the Dead. That's not always amazing, but it is really good in this fight because we'll often be fighting multiple enemies that are both injured, like 2 Cambions at once, things like that. So, pretty darn good here. And our domain spells are False Life, which is really quite good here for just not getting instant killed by a Cambion, and Ray of Sickness, which is just always trash and should never be used. Now for generic cleric cantrips, I'd say that we want Guidance and Resistance, and then, oh, I don't know, we'll take Bursting Sinew and maybe we'll have an opportunity to use it. Probably not. It doesn't really matter. Now for our race. Obviously, if you're starting off a new run, pick whatever race you want to be role-playing as, or something that's just generically very, very good, like Wood Elf or whatever. But for this battle, I'd say what's important is to get ourselves Mage Hand. Mage Hand is phenomenal for this fight, as you'll see, if you don't already know from our previous videos. There are many ways we can get that. We could be a high elf, a high half elf, a Githyanki, but I think, because we already have a lot of the features those classes give us, like weapon and armor proficiencies, what we really want is actually Mephistopheles Tiefling. That gives us Mage Hand and resistance to fire, and there's a lot of fire in this fight, so that's pretty good. For our ability scores, as usual, we'll want to have 16 dexterity. I've said before, dexterity is the most important stat in the game. Every character needs at least 16 of it to be optimized. Because, among other important uses, dexterity makes you win initiative, because initiative in this game is a D4. So every +1 you get is a massive difference, and going first is a tremendous advantage. We also want 16 wisdom, so we're told the dead can hit, and constitution 14 and strength 12 just so we can jump a little bit further. Nothing else really matters on the Nautiloid. Well, for a Dark Urge who'll be tolling all these mournful bells, I think the name to go with is Dirge.
My head.
As usual, search all the Mindflayer bodies. Disappointing. And don't forget to search the chests too. They have randomized stuff. Could be good. Wow. I haven't seen one of these before on the Nautiloid. Very nice. So yeah, check all the chests.
At the ready.
There's another one over here. May as well cast False Life now, and then get our spell slot back. As I've said before, don't recruit us the first time through here. That will complicate things with fighting an Intellect Devourer later on the Nautiloid.
Alright.
Search this Mindflayer body too, might have a speed potion. It does. Very nice.
Now.
Don't forget to search all the imps too. Always search the cultists and chests and things like that here. You might get good stuff, you might not. Ah, candle. Pretty good. This is important too. We want this pod's contents. And I guess we kind of want this pod's contents too, though it's a little bit less important. Alright, let's make our equipment and spells not be stupid. So first of all, both clerics had better have Bless and Command. Those are just mandatory for this fight. Then I'd say Healing Word, if you're in a desperate situation, might be what you need. You hope to never use it, but if you have some kind of mishap happen where a Cambion kills one of your characters or whatever, it might be the most efficient way to get them up sometimes. And then I'd say probably Guiding Bolt. If we have spare spell slots, it might go into Guiding Bolt. Theoretically, Command could be very good to make enemies flee from you and provoke attacks that way, but I find that it's bugged in practice. You might think that Inflict Wounds is more damage, but I think in practice, if you do the math, you'll get more out of Guiding Bolt, actually. It does 1.5 less damage nominally, but you can make it more accurate being on high ground, and also it gives the extra perk of your next attack gets having advantage. I think we'll want to be equipped like this. We give good armor to Shadowheart, so she's less likely to be targeted, and therefore less likely to lose concentration on Bless. We'll be dual wielding on Dirge, because he'll be needing to do lots of extra attacks against Zhalk in melee. And then for weapons, let's say give Shadowheart 2 hand axes because she's proficient with them. We will switch one of those out for a shield later on, but for now I think this is the right choice for her. Because she might be getting a bit of use out of the bonus action offhand attack in the first round of combat, depending on how things go, and nothing else really matters for her. Alright, time to buff. So we are going to quickly get out our mage hands, first of all. And then we're going to cast Bless on actually all of our guys, because as a luxury this time we have enough Blesses to cover everyone. And then we immediately hit that thing and then go into turn-based mode. Okay. We've got 7 turns on the mage hands, that's pretty good. Now one thing to do before you go through those doors is have everyone dash. Because if you dash, it turns out you get to carry that over until the first round of combat.
Eager for battle.
Oh, that's a lucky start there. Okay, let's see if it matters. Will he actually drop his weapon?
I know what to do.
Nice. Okay, so now what is the most efficient way to handle things? I think that as usual for me, I'm going to have us go over this way and try to take out that imp. On average, he can do that in 1 hit. If he gets a low roll, we'll finish it with a mage hand or something like that. Nice.
Behold the dance of death.
I think we're going to have Shadowheart go this way. She can use her offhand to smack that Hellbore.
Come on. Can't stay idle. At the ready.
I think I'm going to offhand poke this imp, and that, if I'm lucky, will outright kill it, but if not, I can easily finish things with Toll the Dead, I would say. I could Toll the Dead Zhalk, but he's still at full HP, so we'll go for these 2 little guys. Man, lucky imp. Alright, Shadowheart can get over here. We'll pick that up next round. Alright, Shadowheart goes over there. Then I guess you need to get into melee with Zhalk. I'm not too worried about the imp.
For you.
Alright, can you get a stun on him, Mindflayer? Pretty good start. Alright, we have both hand axes equipped on a Shadowheart. We weren't able to loot one of them off the imp this turn, so we will go for a throw-based kill against that imp. That is highly likely to work, given that we're invisible to start with here. But we're off to a pretty bad start on that count. Everything else is going well, though. So, we will drag over some Nautiloid tanks and put them over where Dark Roads can pick them up easily. And then we've got a bit of movement speed left, so we'll keep on flying over there. The other mage hand could go for the throw, but he has more important things to do. He's going to fly on up here and grab the Caustic Bulb and the Void Bulb. Sometimes I used to throw the caustic bulbs at Zhalk. I now recommend against doing that though, because besides that they don't always actually work to do damage, the bigger problem with them is that when you do fire damage to them with, say, the Everburn Blade, they then blow up in an unpredictable manner, and that can cause all kinds of issues for you. With pushing your people to the wrong positions and things like that. Alright. So I think we want to advance a little bit with Lae'zel. We can get a bit of extra jump distance that way by just being able to jump down the stairs, I believe. So like that. And then we'll walk over to where we can grab and drag the Everburn Blade. We could attack him this turn, but it'd do pretty minor damage. I think we were ultimately better off just equipping the Everburn, even though we do have advantage this turn. One reason I wasn't too worried about that, of course, is that the Dark Urge himself is blessed. So even if the imp hit, which is unlikely, the Dark Urge will probably pass the concentration saving throw. Even if he failed, it's only a secondary problem because, the Mage Hand's attacks barely matter. Us's attacks are, they're okay. And then the Dark Urge himself is going to be using Toll the Dead, so his attacks don't really matter either because that's not an attack. Alright. Let's see if we can get a finisher on the Imp with Toll the Dead, while also taking some damage on Commander Zhalk. Okay, no damage on Commander Zhalk. That's fine, though. Alright, we're going to go up to Zhalk, and we're going to smack him for a little bit of damage, and get ourselves set up there for success later on. Nope. Okay. That's fine. So you jump over there, and can you get close enough to hit him? Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. I don't really get why. Not this time, apparently.
Fighting.
Got the other hand axe that we needed. We might be able to hit with Sacred Flame. And then I guess we'll take a little jump over there. And drag that over to ourselves. Pick it up. And start running back this way. Alright, Mindflayer. Miss. Okay, that's fine. So, now a very important tip here. I'm going to shove that Mindflayer. The thing is, he's our ally. So we're guaranteed to always successfully shove him. And now, because Zhalk is compelled to attack the Mindflayer and no one but the Mindflayer, Zhalk will go chase after the Mindflayer. Which means Zhalk will provoke attacks from all of our guys over here. So that kind of doubles our attacks per round against him, which is massively helpful. Takes a lot of the luck out of things. Alright, and the Mage Hand can go flying back over this way for now. And this Mage Hand. I guess I could have it throw a hand axe at Zhalk. It's highly unlikely to matter because the chance to hit is dismal and the damage is also dismal. But I guess it is technically optimal, so I'll do it. Alright, that was a lot of work dragging it. Is it worth anything? Nope. We will fly over here and grab ourselves the Caustic Bulb. And we'll pass that on over near our characters there to pick up later on. And now we fly to the other bulb collection over there.
Fury.
Alright, now Zhalk is forced to move there by provoking from everyone. We missed a lot.
I won't give in.
So we will attempt to pick up the Caustic Bulb. Then we're going to attempt to Toll the Dead here. Unfortunately, unlike with Slashing Flourish range for bards, you can't double target the same guy here, so it's not that amazing against him. Oh yeah, 1 damage. Our weapon has come undipped, so I think that we'd actually be better off redipping the weapon as opposed to smacking him for very minor damage right now. You might think it's completely nonsensical to take out a candle in the middle of a fight, drop it on the floor, light it, and then dip your weapons into it, but this is of course a funeral-obsessed cleric over here. Of course he's lighting ceremonial candles in the middle of a battle. It makes perfect sense. I'm just role-playing my character here. Alright, we'll stand over, there or so.
Talk to me.
Alright, Shadowheart. We're gonna have her dash this time, I think. And now it's time to talk about the next of my tricks that I've devised here. So, we run over to there, and here's the next important thing to know. If a main character steps beyond about this point, you'll ruin this tactic by causing some explosions to go off. One over here, and one over here, where it doesn't really matter. You only have one try to do that, and so you want to save that for the right opportunity, which is when the 2 Cambions spawn in over there and you can get them to explode for good damage. What's good about that, besides that it gives you a little bit of free damage on them, is just that you can use it as an ignition source to set off things like Nautiloid tanks on them too. So we're going to drop off our tanks and then just push them as far as it'll let us down the hallway. And I'm excited to add the smoke powder bomb this time. Okay, take a swing at Zhalk and miss. Okay, Mindflayer, Mind Blast. Okay, so we can't do attacks of opportunity on him this turn, so that's not in some ways all that helpful to us because, well, he's not moving away, he's not provoking from us, so we get half as many attacks. But at least on one attack we have advantage, so that's something. Well, we will go over and grab these bulbs. You also want to be careful and don't advance too far this way or we're spawning a bunch of devils prematurely, if a main character goes that way. It's okay if a mage hand does it. Get a nice little hit on Zhalk while he is stunned and comparatively vulnerable. Alright, putting down the hand axe and the mage hand can use it again, I guess. And it's a little bit easier to hit him for like our 1 damage. 2 damage! Oh yeah! You're the man, mage hand. Now over here things start to get interesting. So we're going to start dragging and dropping these tools down the corridor. Alright, that's as far as we can go over there for now. Zhalk comes on stunned, no provoking this turn. Go ahead and try a Toll the Dead on him. Now that's a good hit with Toll the Dead. Very nice. And our weapon is dipped, so it should do okay damage if it hits this time. Shadowheart kind of has to kill a little bit of time right now. I think this is probably the best chance to give her back the shield, so that she's a less tempting target for Cambions later on. We could have tried a Sacred Flame on Zhalk, but, it's hard to hit him with that, and does very little damage anyway. And we'll just walk up there as far as we dare go, and then we will pass our turn. Why did you choose to just provoke that attack of opportunity there, Mindflayer?
Time to strike.
Very strange. Well, I guess that means at least Zhalk can't do another attack of opportunity, so I can shove the Mindflayer where I want. I don't want to shove him that far though necessarily, so maybe I'll have a mage hand do the shoving. Also bear in mind, don't ever shove him down into this area. It looks flat and open, but the game thinks that it's a labyrinth of invisible walls, and that can then screw up your chances to shove people back out of it and things like that.
I am death.
Alright, Alright, let's get another hand axe for the mage hand to use, I guess. A miss, but we're not too surprised by that. And then take a swing at him. Take a swing, we miss. It's not too surprising. Then over here we need to be very careful in how we work. First of all, I recommend throw a caustic bulb over hereabouts. A Cambion will spawn in there. Then this is probably an okay place for those Nautiloid tanks to go. Should be between where the two Cambions will be. Okay. Cambions spawn in. We get our attacks in. We missed the big one, but we did some scratch damage to him at least.
Nothing will stand in my way.
Let's end this.
Alright, so what we do now is take one tiny step. Inexplicably that blows them up. For massive damage. The smoke powder bomb really helped a fair amount there. Normally they're kind of at like 70 and 60, now they're at 60 and 50. So, you know, about 10 damage apiece, which is about what we'd expect to see on average. So, you now will be dashing and jumping, I'd say. Gotta get out of there so they can't catch up and do a bunch of damage to her.
On the move.
Get a little more mileage if you jump down a slope, I think. And there we go.
Another fight. Let's go.
Crowd in around Zhalk, lots of misses. But that was good damage from the Mindflayer, so that's all okay. Then I think I want to have the mage hand push the Mindflayer over this way, and then Zhalk can maybe finish it, pushing him further away. That's kind of going to work, but we'll have Zhalk here first, so that she doesn't have to go in a circle around the guy. Alright.
Swift and lethal.
That's a good start. Now I think Zhalk should be able to shove him... The angle matters here, don't want to push him too far back. Something like that should do. Okay. And I could throw another hand axe at him, but I don't want to do too much damage at this point. We're getting to the point where he's almost dead, actually. So we're doing quite well on that front. Oh, we missed all our attacks anyway.
Come a little closer.
So he has a dash, that means he couldn't quite get the Shadow Heart, so that's good for us. Dash reigniting himself, that's good for us. You know, it would be fun. I could actually try to drop the other caustic bulb there and have the mage hand go and throw it at those guys right before the mage hand is replaced. That could be worth doing. And now we need to start moving away. We also need to bear in mind, once Zhalk dies, the Mindflayer becomes hostile to us, unless they spawned in some of these devils over here first. If we do that, then we're okay. But this is the turn I think when that Cambion can probably get to us and attack one of us. Unless it has the mage hand to go for. So we'll try to make things happen that way, I suppose. So for this phase, we want to change out who we've blessed a bit. We want to bless the Mindflayer and Lae'zel, and probably us. And then we'll have Shadowheart start running to a place that is safe from the enemy over here, so that her concentration is not at risk. And that will spawn in those devils. Now, even if Zhalk dies, which is not about to happen this instant, but even if he does, the Mindflayer will not become hostile to us. This is probably a pretty safe turn to spawn our Mage Hand in. We'll need it for action economy soon. And we're no longer on fire over there. We could re-dip our weapon, I guess. Critical hit for tiny damage. Ooh, that's ineffective. We're in a little bit of trouble now in terms of actually getting this guy to die. He's been quite lucky on not taking damage from us, so we'll need to think of a strategy there to deal with that little issue. I can probably distract a Cambion for a little bit longer if I have this Mage Hand be in their way. One Cambion will probably just go for that instead of moving very far and attacking us. So can I throw it over there? That should blow him up for a little bit more damage. Or it could do nothing. One or the other. I do hate how unpredictable in their effects caustic bulbs can be. Well, at least, they're on fire.
I am fury. I am death. Taking position.
Alright, take a swing at Zhalk. Push the Mindflayer. And I guess we pass our turn there. So Zhalk provokes from everyone. Bam, bam, bam. One of them is going to go for the Mage Hand, I think. Nope, not that one. Alright, that's okay. Neither of them went for the Mage Hand. That part is unexpected. Okay, yeah, that's bad. I really thought the Mage Hand would be good bait against them, but I guess not.
I'm ready.
We really need some of these targets down.
Well, so much for peace.
I could throw out a Toll the Dead on them after weakening them with something, such as a Void Bulb from Shadowheart.
Right.
We'll do that. Pull them back. Minor damage to them all. And now they're Toll the Deadable, effectively.
Moment.
At least they would be if I was over there. Nope. Okay, in that case we will Toll the Dead that guy and that guy. There we go. If the Mindflayer hits, the Mindflayer should get the kill at this point. There we go. Now they get the Mindflayer to not go back there and fight those guys, but instead to go and fight our real enemy, the Cambions. We're not in good positioning for that right now. We've got to work on fixing it. So let's push these guys apart. Break it up, guys. And, oh, I don't know. I guess we'll punch that guy for 1 damage. I guess I could give a hand axe for it. I need a strong throw from Lae'zel is the issue, I think. But she doesn't really have time for that. She's got to create that thing, and then probably got to do a second wind to just not die, That or jump to safety. But Cambions are fast. She is not at full health.
Be true.
Okay, a Hellbore can do at most 5 damage, and Mage Hands take half, so I can probably back away and be okay. Which then would make me not have disadvantage on this upcoming throw I'm about to do.
I am fury. I am death.
Alright, now, we must leave this imp alive. I need at least one devil to still be alive for the Mindflayer to not go hostile to us. So we're going to keep the imp away from the Mindflayer so the Mindflayer doesn't just kill it. Ouch.
What's the plan?
So this turn, nothing could be more important, I think, than just getting the Mindflayer over toward the Cambions. You, Shadowheart, can probably take out that Hellbore. Wah wah. Shadowheart. Classic. Okay, well the Mindflayer took it out, but that Mindflayer also took itself further away, so we got issues here.
I am fury. I am death. My path be true.
That's a pretty good shove over there. Then if you grab and throw this stupid thing... There we go. Then we're going to have our Mage Hand start climbing the stairs over there. Imp gets up from prone. And we didn't drop any items for the Mage Hand this time, but we will soon. We'll just get up there to the top. And then we will wait. And the Cambion should hopefully close in with us and the Mindflayer. Okay, us is taking some serious damage. Alright, there we go. So, this one should be our priority because he, of course, is at lower HP, so we want to finish him. Then I would say we probably want to try to get a multi-target heal going, with us getting healed and Lae'zel getting healed at the same time. So we'll crowd the two of them in together.
Where do I go from here?
I'm ready.
Then I also think we want to get up here onto the high ground. And then we can start throwing hand axes.
It shall be done.
We can probably do gravity damage, though they are, yeah. Nice thing with gravity damage, it never misses. So, even if she misses the throw, she still does a little bit to it, which is quite valuable to us.
They're dying for me. All of them.
Then we're going to do Toll the Dead on both of them. And this is where it's going to start shining, relatively speaking. It is still just a cantrip doing cantrip damage. I could go up and poke one of them in melee with my offhand. Maybe I should. I do have spell slots to spare though. I could instead go up and get high ground advantage and use Guiding Bolt. I think I'll do that for next turn.
Swift as my feet can carry me.
Let's end this.
Mindflayer gets a medium, pretty weak hit, but that's okay.
I will ascend. No time to waste.
Alright, can we get both of them here with a... I've just thought of what we're going to do here, actually. We are going to get out our speed potion now. Then you, Mage Hand, you throw that speed potion over where it hits the Mindflayer, us, and Lae'zel. There we go. That should give us plenty of damage to work with here.
To strike.
So, the first thing we want to try now, I think, is Pommel Strike. Dazed. Okay, that's going to make things easier. So then, we're going to come over here, and we're going to do a cleave attack against the two of them. And then we can take a swipe. Do we want to inflict lacerate? We could do that. Sure. And then we're going to run a little further away so that we're a less obvious target, I think. You can get on up there for the future. Oh, one little thing we should do. We should grab the hand axes on the ground and pull that into our inventory. Another trick that I've got is recycling the same hand axe multiple times per round. Okay, it won't let me get that for some reason, so I'm going to instead drop a healing potion on the ground, and maybe a mage hand can use that. Alright, the imp gets up. We must make sure the Mindflayer doesn't manage to get him with a Mind Blast kill or something like that, or they'll then become hostile, which we don't want. Well, I had planned to throw hand axes, but I guess instead I'll throw healing potions. We could heal the Mindflayer. I don't think we want to do so, though. He's actually got a lot more HP than he usually does here. Maybe I'll go over here, actually, and just shove you back. There we go. Stay out of Mind Blast range. Now that helps with taking out the Mindflayer eventually, which will be our next goal here.
Got to focus.
Nothing will stand in my way.
Well, we could throw out a guiding bolt at that guy. We've got high ground. There we go.
Let's finish this.
Then if I jump back down among them, I can maybe pick up the hand axe that Lizelle was unable to get to. And then we can pass that over to Shadowheart. If we could take out that Cambion, that would be ideal. I don't think we can,
Stay
though.
focused.
So I might actually instead start attacking the Mindflayer. He's too healthy right now.
Let's do this.
Sometimes the only way out is...
Then we pick up the same hand axe, and we're going to do the hand axe cycle.
Need to act fast.
You're good up there. Mindflayer should be able to finish that guy. Oh, that's bad. Now the Mindflayer is hostile. That was a weird move. And changes everything.
Ronda.
At least he used Mind Blast, so we can't use that again immediately, which is important.
I will ascend.
We've got to take out the... we've got to do a lot of things here. We've got to push these guys back together is one thing that's going to be important. So let's see if we can get over there. Give you a push. You're now an enemy, so it's not automatically successful anymore.
I will ascend.
Then... you're too heavy to throw.
On the move.
Well, we can walk up and chop you, and maybe do lacerate. And give you another chop. Shove you, almost certain to succeed. What? Alright, it just lied to me, it threw him in the wrong direction, now he's over there. I could have void bulbed them together to fight, but now for some reason that Cambion is going to be on the loose basically, and the Mindflayer is going to be on the loose too. So that is terrible. And absolutely nonsensical. Alright, well, in that case we've got to do hand axe shenanigans, I guess. Who will throw it at you? We missed, we're not too surprised. Maybe no gravity damage for us. Okay, things are not going well. Cambion attacks us, I hope. Alright, at least he's locked down a little tiny bit longer.
I wonder if this is worth the cost.
So, I mean, the Mindflayer's got to be our highest predator because he's hasted, so he's super dangerous right now.
What now?
I think I better throw a guiding bolt at him for the finisher. Did. Okay. Alright, well without the Mindflayer, it's now me versus the Cambion. I can handle this, it's just gonna be a little tricky.
Time to strike.
We've still got 2 actions here. We've got how much on haste? We have 1 turn left in haste, so we've got to make this count, certainly.
My path be true.
Alright, good start. Not good continuation.
Talk to me.
We need to get these guys healed. We need to get us to do some double attacks here. Very bad. We have a turn of being helpless, basically. Can we get a heal at least, and then get you out of there? No, can't do that. Okay. Okay.
I won't give in.
Can you provoke the attack so that the others can get out safely? Thank you, False Life, for making that sustainable. Okay. We better throw a healing potion so those guys don't die immediately. We also better like throw axes so that guy dies faster. You know, the other Cambion should have a trident on him, right? A scroll of fly. That's interesting. You could maybe do some weird shenanigans with that in the early game. Before the Emerald Grove. You might be able to use that to skip somewhere unusual or something. Interesting. Okay. Well, if I give the trident, which weighs more than the hand axe to Shadowheart, and Shadowheart gets up to the top of these stairs or whatever and drops it, we can then maybe use that for gravity damage against the Cambion. That might be more effective.
Victory awaits.
Oh, the trident has turned invisible. Neat. I should definitely get the invisible weapon bonus for using it now. But unfortunately, I can't throw it while I can't see it. That is a stupid bug to be occurring at the moment. Okay. Don't tell me that's invisible too. Okay, I don't even know what to do about that anymore. If I can't throw things for damage... There we go, now it's visible. Do I have an angle where I can throw it from up here? I'm not sure about that. Okay, you're visible there. We're gonna at least try to heal us so us doesn't just die. That was a bad heal, but okay.
Can't afford to let up. I will ascend.
This mage hand could theoretically do something, but probably not because invisible weapons.
Time to strike.
Alright, well, he's on the loose. He missed, at least that part's good. Now, our guys are stunned. That part is not good.
Dying for me. All of them.
So we're going to basically pass a turn here. We did a little bit of damage. We can try to throw the guy off balance. That might help a little bit. You know, if we hit, it would anyway.
Can't give up.
Well, you can at least throw things directly from your... Not enough movement. It's literally right there. Okay. You at least can throw things out of your inventory. So you shouldn't have the same problem the hand axe had where the thing is invisible, it's on the ground.
Let's see this done.
But you did no gravity damage with a heavier weapon somehow.
These days.
Shadowheart is so amazing she can miss with gravity damage.
What should I do?
Okay. We will try that again with a mage hand doing it this time. I've never had so many problems with this. Strange stuff. Nope, that's not visible either.
Behold the dance of death.
Screw it.
Still breathing, despite everything.
Okay, we're really getting close.
To let up. Better get to work.
Well,
Gravity not working today. Okay. I could poke you for minor damage. I guess I'll do that. Nope.
Let's finish this.
Well, if we can't use gravity, which almost always works, then I guess we'll go down here and we will drop potions for our mage hands to use to keep us alive.
Talk to me.
Maybe we can try a non-gravity damage throw with that trident. I mean, unlike the work is 25%, but...
Victory awaits.
What?
Taking position.
At least it didn't instant kill her or something stupid like that. Alright, well you can have all your plans and then they can all fall apart due to weird bugs sometimes. It's just the way things go in Baldur's Gate 3. 1 damage. 1 damage. There we go. So you can see, even with some truly insane bugs occurring toward the end there, even though the Death Cleric does not have great damage compared to things like the Hexblade or the Fiend Warlock or even a Druid, there's enough wiggle room in my plans that you can still make things work. Adapting to the weird quirks of the game is part of the charm and the fun of this fight, though that one was a little crazier than even I like. Lots of fun, cool loot from the Cambions. I'm looking forward to just experimenting and seeing what you can do with that early game fly scroll that you're not supposed to have. I bet you can get into areas that are past the Goblin Gate siege battle if you use it in the right area. In any case, a lot of cool stuff there and a great beginning to any new run. With all this XP, you'll be level 3 before you even get into the Druid Grove, and you can have a ton of free gold to bribe the early game merchants with. Lots of good stuff. Alright. A fun time. Hope that's helpful to you out there. Thank you for watching, everyone. And a special thank you to my Patreon supporters. The Irreverent Reverend, Master Knight DH, Jackie, Enlino, Travis, Andrew Curzon, Trubsy, Oliver, Cronish, Jago, DK in DK, Gregory, Broken Box, Jenna M, Just Becca, Jack, Marcus the Carcass, Nubiana, Discord Colossus, Nicholas Schmuck, Kostya Nesterovich, Frederick Brune, Robin, Stefan Van Zyl, Eddie, Mina, Ali Kasamoglu, Skylar Sauce, Nick Myers, Emp Ninjas, Previn A, Chupatan, Diabetic Cat, Marvin Fay, Max, Afro Zamurai, Step Back Too Deadly, Lodestone, Bick Mars, Brad, IJ23, Rodrigo Lopez Dato, Kevin Ditchide, Silent, Eldritch, Jake Watson, and a name that starts with sword emojis. Have a great day, everyone.